Thanks for being here. We get started this morning, of course, with the turmoil in Washington after a historic vote to remove Kevin McCarthy as Speaker of the House of Representatives. This was after less than 9 months in that leadership role.
The office of Speaker of the House of the United States House of Representatives is hereby declared vacant.
The final vote was 216 to 210 in favor of removing McCarthy from the speakership. 8 Republicans joined all House Democrats in voting to oust him. It's the first time in U.S. history lawmakers have formally voted to remove a sitting speaker in the middle of a term. Opposition to McCarthy grew among Republicans after last weekend's deal to avert a government shutdown. The chair of the Financial Services Committee, North Carolina Congressman Patrick McHenry, is now serving as interim speaker until a replacement is chosen, beginning what could be a long process. NBC News congressional correspondent Julie Tsirkin joins us now with the latest. Julie, good morning. So certainly an unprecedented day yesterday on Capitol Hill. Just walk us through what happened before the vote, after the vote, and what we're hearing from the now former House Speaker.
Yeah, guys, it was quite a shock, not only to reporters covering this, but also to members who were streaming out of a closed-door Republican conference meeting, some with tears in their eyes, some with shock on their faces. The way this all came about was really since the beginning of McCarthy got his gavel. He made this handshake agreement with some of the far-right conservatives, including Congressman Matt Gaetz, to get their support to get the gavel in the first place, that any one of them can bring up what's called a motion to vacate that triggers a full House vote. And then, easily enough, McCarthy loses his gavel with just a handful of votes. 8 Republicans voting against him. The final tally was 216 to 210 because Democrats decided early in the day yesterday they were not going to get involved in the House Republican internal drama. They were going to stay out of it. But the thing is, they voted against McCarthy here. They sided with Gaetz and those 7 Republicans. And that's unfortunately what caused McCarthy to lose his speakership. I want you to take a listen to what McCarthy had to say right after that all happened. Watch.
Doing the right thing isn't always easy, but it is necessary. I don't regret standing up for choosing governance over grievance. It is my responsibility. It is my job. I do not regret negotiating. I will not run for speaker again. I'll have the conference pick somebody else.
McCarthy, the forever optimist who was telling us all weekend long, all day long yesterday even, that he is confident, that he never gives up, stepping aside, saying he will not run for speaker again. Guys, remember, all of this came about after McCarthy worked with Democrats to avoid a last-minute government shutdown on Saturday. That's what really led to this final vote to oust him.
Absolutely. That's exactly what I want to ask you about. Have we heard from Florida Congressman Matt Gaetz? What was his reaction to this vote? And explain to us also how the interim speaker was chosen, because it wasn't known exactly who that would be prior to this going down.
Exactly. Yeah, we have heard from Gaetz. And remember, this is something that McCarthy has long said was personal. Gaetz has denied that, of course. But Gaetz came out of this, and he came out of this victorious. It's not clear, though, what the next steps will be from Gaetz, who he will support for speaker, and so on. You're right. We do have an interim speaker. That is Patrick McHenry of North Carolina. That was actually a secret list that every single speaker puts together when they get chosen. It doesn't matter if it's McCarthy or the many speakers prior. No one knew who was on this list, but the first person was Patrick McHenry, which is a very, very close ally of McCarthy. Take a listen, though, what Gaetz had to say right after this vote. Watch.
We heard Speaker McCarthy say that he wanted us to bring it on, so I guess we did. Kevin McCarthy couldn't keep his word. He made an agreement in January regarding the way Washington would work, and he violated that agreement. Kevin McCarthy should take a hint. After 15 ballots to become Speaker, after 8 months of a failed speakership, and after removal in this historic manner, I think we should move on and find somebody else.
So obviously McCarthy did take that hint. He said he will not run for speaker again. The question is, though, who will?
Yeah, and that begs the question, how does this work now? What's next for the House, the process for selecting a new speaker, and do we have any idea who is potentially in the running for the role?
Yeah, well, look, it's members of leadership, right? We have Tom Emmer, who is the whip, he's the vote counter of Republicans. You see him on your screen. Tom Cole, who's the rules chairman. Steve Scalise, who is by far the most popular choice after McCarthy. They thought for a second that he was going to be the one to take over as speaker back in January when McCarthy was going those 15 rounds. Elise Stefanik, Jim Jordan, who's, of course, the chair of the Judiciary Committee. Also some outside names like Kevin Hearn, who is the chair of the very conservative Republican Study Committee. A lot of people raising their hands now. Right now, the House is actually adjourned until Tuesday. They will come back next week. They will huddle in a room. McCarthy made it very clear that he doesn't want that same 15 ballot situation to happen again. They'll likely choose someone behind closed doors. And then on Wednesday, as soon as Wednesday, they might take to the floor for a full vote on that after they've chosen someone behind closed doors. So it's not likely we're going to see that dramatic process unfold like we did back in January. I think Republicans feel embarrassed by what happened yesterday, and they want to keep further embarrassment off of the block here and do something internally.
All right. Julie Tsirkin, thank you so much.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.